Lesson 18. The Necklace. This is an interesting story about Matilda, the charming wife of a petty clerk who dreams of a life of leisure and luxury. She is overjoyed when she is invited to a grand ball. She manages to buy a new dress for the occasion and borrows jewelry from her friend. However, fate seems to have some other plans in store for her. Read and enjoy the story. She was one of those pretty charming girls born by a blunder of destiny in a family of employees. She had no dowry, no expectations, no means of being known, understood, loved, married by a man rich and distinguished. And she let them make a match for her with a little clerk in the Department of Education. She suffered intensely, feeling herself born for every delicacy and every luxury. She suffered from the poverty of her dwelling, from the worn walls, the abraded chairs, the ugliness of the stuffs. She had a rich friend, a comrade of her convent days, whom she did not want to go and see any more. So much did she suffer as she came away, and she wept all day long, from chagrin, from regret, from despair, and from distress. But one evening her husband came in with a proud and holding in his hand a large envelope.
"There,"
said he.
"there is something for you."
She quickly tore the paper and took out of it a printed card which bore these words: "The Minister of Education and MME, George Ramponneau, beg M. and MME Lossell to do them the honor to pass the evening with them at the Palace of the Ministry on Monday, January 18. Instead of being delighted, as her husband had hoped, she threw the invitation on the table, murmuring, "What do you suppose I want with that?"
"But, my dear, I thought you would be pleased. You never go out, and here's a chance, a fine one. I had the hardest work to get it. Everybody is after them. They are greatly sought for, and not many are given to the clerks. You will see there all the official world."
She looked at him with an irritated eye and said, "What do you suppose I have to wear to such a formal party?" He had not thought of what and stammered,
"Why, the dress you wear when we go to the theatre. It seems very pretty to me."
He felt silent, upset, and seeing that his wife was weeping. "See here, Matilda, how much would this cost a proper dress, which would do on other occasions? Something very simple." She reflected a few seconds, going over her calculations and thinking also of the sum which she might ask without meeting an immediate refusal and a frightened exclamation from the frugal clerk. At last she answered hesitatingly, "I don't know exactly, but it seems to me that with 400 francs I might do it."
"All right, I will give you 400 francs, but take care to have a pretty dress."
The day of the party drew near, and MME Lossell seemed sad, restless, anxious. Yet her dress was ready. One evening her husband said to her,
"What's the matter with you?"
And she answered, "I'm upset because I don't have a jewel to adorn myself with." He answered,
"You will wear some natural flowers. They are very stylish this time of the year. For 10 francs, you will have 2 or 3 magnificent roses."
But she was not convinced. No, there's nothing more humiliating than to look poor among a lot of rich women. Then her husband cried out,
"How stupid we are. Go and ask your friend, Madame Frostier, to lend you her jewels."
The next day she went to her friend's house and told her about her distress. MME Forestier went to her mirrored wardrobe, took out a large casket, brought it, opened it and said, "Choose, my dear." Among the jewels she saw a superb necklace set with diamonds. She asked in a hesitating voice, "Could you lend me this?" "Why, yes, certainly." She sprang to her friend's neck, kissed her with ardor, and then escaped with her treasure. The day of the party arrived. MME Lossell was a great success. She was the prettiest of all, elegant, gracious, smiling, and full of gaiety. All the men noticed her, asked her name and wished to waltz with her. She danced with delight, with passion, thinking of nothing, floating on a cloud of happiness. She and her husband left the ball at around 4 o'clock. Out in the street they found no carriage and began to look for one. There was one in the distance. It took them as far as their door in Martyr Street. They went up to their apartment. She stood in front of the mirror for a final view of herself in her glory and suddenly uttered a cry. Her necklace was not around the neck. She turned towards her husband. I've no longer have Mme Forestier's necklace. And they looked in the folds of the dress, in the pockets, everywhere, but did not find it. They looked at each other, utterly cast down.
It will be necessary,
he said,
to write to your friend that you have broken the clasp of necklace and that you will have it repaired. That will give us time.
She wrote as he directed. At the end of a week, they had lost all hope. Lossell declared, "We must take measures to replace this jewel." They went from jeweler to jeweler seeking a necklace like the lost one. In a shop, they found a necklace of diamonds which seemed exactly like the one they had borrowed. It was valued at 40,000 francs. Lossell possessed 18,000 francs, which his father had left him. He borrowed the rest. When Mme. Lossell looked at the jewels back to when Mme. Lossell, Forester, the latter said in cold tone, "You should have returned them to me sooner, for I might have needed them." Mme. Lossell now knew the horrible life of bare necessity. They had to pay his frightful debt, and she would pay it. They sent away the maid, then changed their lodgings. She learned the heavy chores of a household, the hateful work of a kitchen. She washed the dishes and the soiled linen. The husband worked evenings and nights. This life lasted 10 years. At the end of 10 years, they had repaid all their debts. Mme. Lossell now seemed old. She had become a downtrodden woman of a poor household. Then, one Sunday, as she was taking a walk, she perceived suddenly a woman walking with a child. It was Mme. Forestier, still young, still beautiful. Mme. Lossell felt moved. Should she speak to her? Yes, certainly. And now that she had paid up, she would tell her all. Why not? She approached her. "Good morning, Jean." Her friend uttered a cry of astonishment. "Oh, my poor Matilda, how you have changed!" "Yes, I have had some hard days, and all because of you." "Because of me? How is that?" "Well, I lost the diamond necklace that you loaned me. I returned another to you exactly like that, and it was taken us 10 years to pay for it.